All right, so today we're going to talk about topic 3F, which is solving equations for a variable. So when we think about this, though, before I get started, one thing that this runs into is we have an equation like y equals 3x plus 4 that we've already talked about this year. And what this is, that means we knew that the 3 was our slope, which was our m value, okay? And then 4 was our y-intercept, here, our y-int, which is our b value. All right, so for this, you're thinking, oh, I could graph this. I can make a graph here. I could start up 4, and then I would go up 3 over 1 or down 3 left 1. Okay, so with that, we have equations that are not always going to be in this slope-intercept form of the y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, or in the y equals mx plus b form, I should say, y equals mx plus b. Sometimes they may be set up differently. So here's example number 1. Okay, so make sure you're putting this in your lesson log for me, please. So example number 1 is 6x plus 2y equals 10. Okay, so you can see here, this one is not in y equals mx plus b form, but we do have a name for this. This is called in standard form, which we are not going to graph. When we graph ones like standard form, okay, we're going to want to get it to that y equals mx plus b. That's our goal. Let's get this to y equals mx plus b. And you know that in order to get it to this y equals mx plus b form, which is slope-intercept form, okay, we need to have y by itself. So that's our goal here, is we need to solve for y. Okay, so that's what our goal is. This is when we talk about solve for a variable. We're solving for y in this case. So we have 6x plus 2y equals 10. We need to get y by itself. Well, our first step here is to get rid of everything that's not attached to the y on the left-hand side, just like how we solve equations. So we need to get rid of the 6x on the left-hand side first. To get rid of that 6x, it's a positive 6x, so we must minus 6x. Now, since it's just like we said, we're minusing it from both sides, so 6x minus 6x on both sides. So you see here on the left-hand side now, they both cancel out, the 6x's cancel out, and you're left with that 2y still. Okay, and then that 10, then on the right-hand side, you have that 10 minus 6x, okay? Those can't combine together, so they just got to stay separate. So we're going to have 10 minus 6x, okay? So we have 2y equals 10 minus 6x now. Well, now you can be like, well, how do I get y by myself here? I got a 2 times a y. So to get rid of that, you say, oh, the opposite of timesing y by 2 would be divide it by 2, okay? Now, this is the tricky part here. We divided everything on the left-hand side by 2, which was just the y. So we need to make sure we divide everything on the right-hand side by 2. So I'm going to divide 10 by 2. I'm going to divide 6 by 2, okay? We are taking everything and taking away, dividing it by 2. We're not just dividing one piece on one side by 2. We need to divide everything. So when we do this here, you're going to have y left on the left-hand side equals 10 divided by 2, which is 5, okay? And then negative 6 divided by 2, which is a negative 3. And then you have your x. So now we have our equation, y equals 5 minus 3x. Okay, y is by itself, which was what our goal was from the beginning. And it is in that slope-intercept form with a y-intercept of 5 and a slope of negative 3. Okay, so let's do another one here. Okay, so here's example number 2. Example number 2, we have 2x minus 6y equals 12. Okay, so our goal here is still to solve for y. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. Solve for y here. Yes, we have an x and a y in this, but we want to solve for y because if we solve for y in this case, we will get it in that slope-intercept form. Okay, so here we go. So let's draw our line down here. So we need to get y by itself. So we got to get rid of the 2x again, on the 2x here. So how do we get rid of a 2x here if it's a positive? Well, we minus 2x from both sides. Okay, minus 2x. So that leaves us with just that minus 6y here on the left-hand side because the 2x's cancel out. Okay, and that's going to be equal to 12 minus 2x. Well, we can't do that. So it's 12 minus 2x. They just stay separate. Now we got to figure out how do I get rid of that minus 6 that's attached to that y because it's negative 6 times y. Well, in order to get rid of something if it's timesing, you need to divide, so we're going to divide by negative 6. Now here's the thing, you got to remember, you're dividing everything by negative 6. So we're going to divide 12 by negative 6 and the negative 2 divided by negative 6. Okay, So negative 6y divided by negative 6, well, that's just y on the left-hand side, equals 12 divided by a negative 6 is a negative 2. And then negative 2 divided by 6, well, that's going to stay a fraction here, but a negative divided by a negative is positive. And then 2 divided by 6 converts down to 1/3, because if you do it over here on the right-hand side, each of these can be divided by 2. Okay, so you're just reducing fractions. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we're going to have plus 1/3 x. Okay, and that x you can bring down top, or you can leave it on top. All right. Okay, let's go to example number 3 here. Okay, example number 3, we have 3y minus 5x equals 18. Okay, I want you to pause the video and try this one now, and then resume it once you're done. All right, so our goal here again was to solve for y. Okay, we're solving for y. That's our goal. All right, I should have given those directions before, but we're solving for y. So we need to get y by itself. Okay, so we got to get rid of this x first on the left-hand side because we need y alone. So to get rid of a minus 5x, you should have plus 5x. Okay, so plus 5x to both sides. Okay, then you're left with just the 3y on the left-hand side because the minus 5x and the positive 5x cancel out. Then you're going to have 18 plus 5x. Okay, because you can't do anything with this. Those won't combine together. They got to stay separate. Now we got to get y by itself. So to get y by itself here, the opposite of timesing by 3 to y is dividing by 3. Now we got to remember, you need to divide every single thing by 3. Every term as plus or minus needs to be divided by 3. So on the left-hand side, you're going to have y equals, because the 3's cancel out, 8. And then you're going to have on the right-hand side, 18 divided by 3. Well, that's just 6. Okay. Plus 5 divided by 3. Oh, that one we can't really do. So I'm just going to write 5/3. I can't reduce it at all. I'm just going to move my x down to the side. Okay. So you had to have a y-intercept of 6. And you would have a slope of 5/3. Okay, one more here. Example number 4. Okay, we have, let's go with a negative 3x minus 6y equals negative 30. Okay, so pause the video. Try this one by yourself. Remember, we're solving for y. All right, so here we go. So for this one, remember, you need to get y by itself, so we got to get rid of that minus 3x first. So to get rid of a minus 3x, you plus 3x to both sides, plus 3x, plus 3x. Okay, on the left-hand side, they cancel out. So that leaves you with a minus 6y equals, and on the right-hand side, you still have just a minus 30 plus 3x. They can't combine together. Now to get y by itself, you got to do the opposite. What's the opposite of minusing by 6? Or sorry, not minusing, timesing by a negative 6, which is dividing by a negative 6. Okay. So you're going to get y equals on the left-hand side because those two negative 6's will cancel out. Negative 30 divided by a negative 6. Remember, you had to divide everything by a negative 6. So negative 30 divided by a negative 6 is a positive 5. Okay. And then 3 divided by negative 6. I like to do this on the other side. 3 divided by a negative 6, and since that's a positive 3, okay, we know it's going to be a negative because positive divided by negative is negative. Now 3/6, though, each of these can be divided by 3 because we need to reduce this fraction. So we get a negative 1/2. So we're going to have minus 1/2, and we're going to have x off on the side. Okay, so you would have a y-intercept of 5, and you'd have a slope of a negative 1/2. Okay? Please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this video is helpful.